All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we're going to be checking out Red Black Garp. OP02 Garp, but we're going to be checking it out in the OP07 EB01 format. I didn't really look into OP08, to be honest with you guys. I didn't really look into OP08 in regards to Garp, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head on the spot. But if you guys can think of any cards coming out from OP08 that could help this leader, by all means, please put it down in the comment section below. But we will be exploring Red Black Garp in the EB01 OP07 format. Let me give you guys a quick layout of how this video is going to go. First, we're going to check out some decks, two decks, one from the west, one from the east, that are the most recent lists I can find. And I don't know if you could see the date back here, but the most recent deck list I could find on Garp was 5/31, not in the future, okay, 5/31, so May 31st, 2023. And the other one that I could find from the west was from, I think, July 30th, 2023. So we're going to kind of go back in time, get some inspiration, see what direction the Red-Black Garp decks were going when they were doing decent. You know, they were never doing great, but, you know, whenever they were doing decent, we'll see what was working for them, and then we'll try to go from there. So we'll check out some decks, some older decks, then we're going to go over some games on the sim, and then we're going to check out the deck list that I'm using that I recommend at the end of the video, and we'll do some brainstorming from there, do some theory crafting, and wrap it up in that way. Do some final thoughts. So you guys know what we're getting into. There will be some OP07 spoilers, obviously. But again, if you guys can think of any deck list, or excuse me, if you guys have been having a lot of success with a certain deck list for Garp, or if you can think of a card that could really benefit the leader, by all means put it down in the comment section below, guys. Because I make these videos, first of all, to, you know, stir up some conversation, stir up some thoughts, like, oh yeah, maybe we could try this, that, or the other with it. But also to try and make an off-meta leader, you know, move up a tier, like do better, start seeing it at locals and things like that. And it's just fun to do, right? It's just fun. It's fun to play these old leaders that people haven't, you know, newer players have never seen, and maybe like, you know, older, like more veteran players haven't seen in a while. So it's, you know, it's cool to see them again. All right, so let's dive into this, guys. We got a lot to talk about. Let me talk about the leader first, then we'll blast through these lists. We're not going to spend a lot of time on these old deck lists because they're just older now, right? You know, it's, no reason to stay in the past, but we'll at least get an idea from them. So 5,000 power, 4 life, red-black, dual-colored leader. On your turn, whenever you attach Dawn to this leader or to one of your characters, give up to one of your opponent's cost 7 or lower characters -1 to their cost during this turn. Sorry, it's kind of worded weird, but you guys know what I'm saying. So in other words, if it is a cost 7 or lower character, then you can attach a Dawn to one of your characters or your leader and give it -1 for the turn. So you can do that as many times as you want to, by the way. That is not a once per turn. You can just keep loading up and minusing Dawn, or minusing cost per Dawn you attach to your leaders or character, to your leader or characters. Okay, so this first list, like I said, this is back in May 31st of 2023, guys, in Japan and the East. First place list. This is OP04, okay? It's been that long since this list has seen, you know, since this leader has seen any play at like even a semi-competitive level, like a store battle or a local tournament. So, but anyway, let's get into it. So notice in the beginning they were focused very much on Navy, and you know we don't necessarily have to swap over from Navy because Navy is a strong package. But I think we got some good stuff. Once we get to the games, guys, I think Straw Hat Crew might be the way to go going forward, and maybe splashing a little bit of Navy as well. Okay, but we'll tackle that once we get to the next part of this video. So 4 Borsalinos, 4 Garp, 4 Kuzan. I'll talk about Garp and Kobe in a minute, guys, because I know some newer players might have no idea what these do. I'll talk about it in a second. So 4 Kuzan, 4 Sakazuki, 3 Kobe, 2 Isho, 4 Sabo, 4 Bartolomeo, 4 of the 7 cost Dressrosa Luffy, 3 Rebecca, 4 Tippus Kick Sky Slicer, 3 King Kong Gun, 4 Rad Beam, and 3 Diablo Jambe. Just right away, I've got issues with some of these cards because I don't understand why you would run this card over a card like Great Eruption. Great Eruption is Navy searchable, first of all. The trigger is draw 2, trash 1 on... Actually, let me just bring it up for you guys. I think I have it over here. Yeah, here it is. Y'all give me just a second, guys. I actually had it up because I was looking. I was like, man, is that right? So notice this, guys. This is a main... KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less, and then trigger draw 2, trash 1. They're both 2 cost. This one's Navy searchable, and this can KO a 1 or less, whereas this card can only KO a 0. And it can also pop a stage. So I guess, you know, I guess, you know, it can pop a stage with a cost 3 or lower, so I guess it can hit like an Onigashima, whatever. And the trigger is slightly better, but not much better. And some people might argue it's not as good because drawing 2 and trashing 1 means you can fill up your trash with what you need to for your Gecko Morias, so there is some utility there. But the effect is just flat out worse, in my opinion, than Meteor Volcano that we just looked at. And it's Navy searchable. Whoops, sorry. So I don't really agree with running this card, the Tempest Kick Sky Slicer, and I don't really know how much I care for the Rebecca shenanigans. Like, you could tell what they're trying to do. This is a Straw Hat Dressrosa searchable card. So is this Luffy. So they're trying to just stabilize the game, KO all of their opponent's characters. I like that. You know, build up a wall of blockers, use this, fill up their trash a little bit, so that way, by around late game, if they survive that long, now their King Kong gun is going to be able to go 13. You know, it's going to be able to make your Luffy a 13k double attacker swinging twice. That's the idea behind it, but I don't think we need all that, you know, craziness going on. We don't need something that crazy. We can just make a strong deck that KOs everything every turn. Now, back then, back in OP04, when this deck was out, maybe that wasn't possible, and maybe that's why they had to go about things this direction. But I think now we just have better options. Like this Kobe, let me read what this does real quick for those who do not know. This is from ST08. This is a 4-cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter. Activate main. You may rest this character and KO a 2 or less. Now, what was so good about this card, I'm not even saying it's good, by the way, but I'm saying what people thought was so good about this card is it was free. Like, you didn't have to trash a card from your hand. That was a very common effect back in the day. When black first became a leader, or excuse me, a color in the game, like, trashing a card was just expected for their removal. Like, okay, yeah, I'm going to play this card to KO one of yours, but to balance it, I have to trash a card from hand. Because we're going to see that in there's a 3-cost Kobe we're going to look at in the next deck list that has that as well, where you have to trash a card from hand. Well, this one doesn't require you to trash a card from hand, and then your opponent's probably going to swing into it next turn, so it even acts as like a counter. But I still am not a huge fan of this card. But I see what they're going with. I understand what they're going for, so that way they can just set up for the late game and just OTK their opponent. Very cool stuff here. I like the Sabo still. Everything else seems pretty cool. Now, one thing I will suggest going forward, and we'll talk about as we get into my games, is I actually just like either brand new in the place of Rebecca, because there's tons of searchable targets for Navy. You know, it's a lot of great searchable targets for Navy in here. Okay, and then the other one I would recommend is the 1-cost Nami, because Nami can search up this Luffy, this King Kong gun, this Radical Beam, and this Diable Jambe. You know what I mean? It just has a lot of searchable targets, and then you could also put in a 2k counter here, you know, like a 2k counter Brook, you know, something like that, if you turn this into the 1-cost Nami. What else? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this one. This is like, no one uses this card anymore, guys, but it was actually made for this leader. So this is the 2-cost, 3,000 power, 2k counter Garp. It has Dawn ×2 when attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 0. So this will allow you, you know, to swing in for 5 and then -2 for something by attaching 2 with this leader's effect, and you could KO a 2-cost character for the most part, like with that interaction. And understand what's going on. Like, let me just talk about the leader for a second. The idea is, in red, there are cards that can attach Dawn for free, right? Like the 1-cost starter Nami. There's Chaka now. I forgot when that came out. OP04, OP05. But Chaka can, you know, when you attach 1 Dawn to him, then you can attach 2 Dawn for free to someone else, right? So the idea is you're going to attach Dawn for free with your red cards, and then your black cards, you're going to KO them, right? It's like, whoa, that's really cool with the leader's effect. But it's just not practical. Like, in practice, it doesn't, you know, in theory, it's great. In theory, it's really cool, and there's lots of interactions going on, and you're utilizing a lot of high value, you know, potentially high value effects to get even more value. But it just doesn't work out like that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that requires all these different combo pieces, and then eventually, you know, what ends up happening is they just KO your characters. How long is a 1-cost Nami going to stick on the board, right? Like, it's just not realistic. You know, the 1-cost 2,000 power Nami from the starter deck, Red Purple Law is just going to bottom deck that as a secondary part of their effect. Gecko's going to run it over with an Absalom. What's his name? Lucci's going to pop it with something like, he could pop it with either Brook, the 3-cost Brook from EV01, or the Kaku, the 5-cost Kaku, or the 4-cost Lucci. You know, it's just impractical, right? So that's the idea behind this leader for those who are not aware of what's going on. Like, you know, why would they ever print a leader like this for red and black? That's why. Red normally deals with power reduction and KO based off power. and black uses cost reduction. But with this leader, you can combine red's effect of attaching Dawn with black's effect to KO. That's the logic behind it. I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying that's what they were thinking. Okay, so that's the first list there. Sorry I had to do a quick little explanation, but for some of the newer players, they might not have known that. Now, this list is a little more interesting. It's running a lot of the same cards, but this whole entire strip here is like cards we didn't see last time. For Kobe, this is the other Kobe. I do want to spend some time on this. 3 costs, 4,000 power, 1k counter, Navy searchable. On play, trash 1 card from your hand and KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. I like this a lot better than the 4 cost Kobe. Number 1, if you get stuck going first, this just ends up being playable on turn 2 no matter what, right? If you had to go first, you can play this on turn 2. If you went second, you can play this on turn 2. Okay. And on turn, and even if they played a 3 cost card on their turn 2, if you had to go second and you're on 4 Dawn, you get attach 1 Dawn to your leader, swing for 6, and then pop a 4 or less with this effect. So very, very solid there. Also, a card that doesn't see almost any play anymore. It makes me so sad. This was like one of my favorite characters. I love the color palette. Like the color palette and the color scheme for this character is so awesome. I absolutely love it. 5 cost, 7k. That's like a great stat line to just start beating into your opponent. And again, if you're stuck on the odd curve, no problem. You can go Kobe directly into Smoker. And then Smoker, for those who are not aware, for the newer players, again, this character cannot be KO'd by your card's effects, or by card effects, excuse me. Dawn times 1, as long as there is a character that costs 0 in play, this character gains double attack. So, like, yeah, blue can bottom deck it, and black's even getting cards that can trash it now. Green can tap stuff down. But I'm telling you what, if they don't deal with this card the turn it's in play, and you can start reducing costs because, you know, your leader can easily do that, you're going to start really, you know, smashing into them. So very good stuff there. Tashigi's just a 2k counter. In fact, I don't think the other list was even running Suru. Yeah, look at this, guys. This other list, and I'm not trying to make fun or anything like that. I'm not trying to be disrespectful or rude. They're not running Tashigi as a 2k counter. They're not running Suru as a 2k counter for cost reduction. But they are running the Bartolomeo to search up with the Rebecca. I guess that's what's going on there. I'm not a huge fan of that first list that we looked at. Okay, so back to this one. Because they're running so much Navy, of course they're running brand new. Now they are running 2 Khalifas, a nice 2k counter here, and Fukuro, which is just a solid blocker. Again, can't be KO'd. So you see what's going on here. I'm surprised they're not running Sabo. Borsalino cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. Fukuro cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. And Smoker cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. So I guess maybe they don't even need Sabo. But if they did choose that, they could run it over this. Let's talk about this for a second. 5 cost, 6,000 power, Garp. Here he can activate main, trash 1 card in your hand, and rest this character and KO a 4 or less. This card's not bad at all, but I almost think, like, why not just go more defensive here? Because you can pop anything you want to with the Kobe. Actually, he's not running a lot of ways to pop cards. I do take that back. Never mind. We did mention this card. This can pop cards based off cost if it survives. But he's not running any other ways to pop cards. He's not running the Sakazukis. Interesting. But Kobe is very solid. Garp is very solid. I would just rather have a more defensive package here. And maybe instead of like Fukuro, I would probably be running the 6-cost Sakazuki in this list. I do a little changes there. But that's just me. Sorry. Okay. Running 3 of the red Luffy. I like this way better than the Dressrosa Luffy. I think this is a much better direction to take the deck. I like this way, way better. 3 Impact Waves. Oh, man. Shockwave or Impact Wave. This was one of my absolute favorite cards when I first started playing the game. Gum Gum Red Hawk. This card's very solid as well. Pause and read if you don't know what it does. And then Radical Beam. Now, again, every card at the bottom here is Straw Hat searchable except Impact Wave. So, you guys are going to see in my list. We're about to look at my list now. Well, first we're going to, you know, go over some games on the sim. But I think you'll see, like, I really think the way to go with this deck going forward, you know, in EB01 and OP07 and OP08 is probably Straw Hat Crew. And maybe a little bit of Navy support. Okay. Let me hit play. We got the volume. Let me make sure the volume's off. Okay, and make sure we're on 2x speed. Okay, we're good to go, guys. We are good to go. Okay, so real quick, this first game is against Black Yellow Luffy. Now, Black Yellow Luffy is becoming a knowledge check leader, in my opinion, like a knowledge check style leader, where it's like if you know how to play around them, you're actually just going to be able to probably beat most of the Black Yellow Luffys you go against, unless they're just a very, very high skill level player. Because I do think Luffy has what it takes to be a top tier deck, and I think, especially once Sakazuki's gone, I think this and Red Purple Law are top tier decks. And if you know, I did a video on this yesterday at the time we were recording this. I did a video talking about this yesterday. If you want to know what I think of what's going to be the best decks in OP07. Okay, so this guy's running a slightly different list. He's running Ivankov, but I have seen some decks running that lately, even over in the East. So, you know, teach their own. It is a blocker. It does let you mess with your life. You know, it's not too bad. But this new card you see on the board here, Brook, the 3-cost Straw Hat Crew Brook from EB01, I think is the #1 card that makes Garp playable. In the current format. I'm not saying he's going to be S tier. I'm not saying that, but he's probably somewhere around B tier, guys. I know that's not great. There's there's S tier, A tier, and then B tier. You want us to play a B tier leader if you're trying to have fun in a locals, absolutely right. But I do think this leader is now packing removal, guys. And then also you see the other card on the board right now, that Luffy. Okay, he is swinging in really hard here. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. I had to counter out pretty aggressively there because I didn't want to go too low in life. I need a chance to win this game. Play out my Isho to make him trash 2 cards from his hand. I'm going to attach 1 Dawn to my Isho. Now that new Luffy I was just talking about can trash his Sabo because it's not KOing it. It can trash Sabo and then swing for 6. I should have swung for 6 at the Sabo, though. So big play mistake here, guys. Let me go back real quick. Hang on 1 second, please. Okay. I play out Isho. He trashes 2 cards from that effect. Attach 1 Dawn. Now, his Sabo is a 2-cost character. This new character, I have it on the side of the screen. You can read it. Okay, let me put my glasses on. When attacking, notice the stats on this character, by the way. 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter. When attacking, trash up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. Don't worry about the second part. You can buff your character later in the game. That's not really what we're trying to do. But what I should have done here. So his Sabos are both at 2 cost right now because Isho is in play with 1 Dawn attached. What I should have done here is, with Luffy, attack 6 into the tapped Sabo, and then trashing, not KOing, trashing the other Sabo, the one that's still standing. Big mistake here. It doesn't, I don't think it cost me or anything, but it was definitely a mistake. 100% a mistake. Okay, so now I still want to get this Ivankov off the board. He played Sabo late, so I can KO the, or excuse me, not Sabo. He played Garp after the Sabo, so I can still KO the Garp with my Brook's effect. Now, swing 5 at leader. I don't want to. I don't want to give him that card because, #1, it's a card he can use. He's down to 5 cards. And #2, it gets him closer to using his leader's effect. Okay, but that was definitely a mistake, guys, because he'd have 1 less card. He'd have 2 less cards in hand, actually, because he'd have to counter out to save a Sabo. And then he wouldn't have got the card from life, and then he wouldn't be able to do all this right here. And you see how my board would have been. It was just a massive play mistake. But we are at a serious advantage currently. It's going to be very hard to deal with my board now that I have that 5-cost 6k Luffy on the board. He makes a pretty big play mistake here, I think, not going for it with everything. Like, well, okay, I'm sorry. I take that back. He had to get rid of that card as well. He had to get rid of my Brook because my Brook can KO his stuff as well this turn because they're not protected by Sabo. Swing 6 into it, but there goes your blocker. Okay, well, and his leader's only 7,000 power this turn. So I guess I'll swing 11 into your leader. See what he gets. You know, if he takes this, the game's over, right? He takes it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, now swing for 13 into a 7k leader. You're going to have to give me, you know, what, like bare minimum. Swinging 13 into 7. So if he's at 7, 2 will give him to 9. 2 will get him to 11. 2 will get him to 13. He would have needed 3 2k counters and a 1k counter to get out of that or better. Okay, next game. Hang on 1 second, guys. Got to move this around. There we go. Okay, so that was versus Black Yellow Luffy. This one is against Boa Hancock, the new OP07 Boa. And honestly, now that... So let me say this. Let me make sure you guys can see everything, okay? Okay, yeah, y'all can see everything good. Good deal. Let me say this, guys, with Garp. Now that we have access to Gecko Moria from OP06, Brook from EB01, and the Rebecca back from OP05 or whatever it was, like, this deck has a lot of potential. Like, you're using all these cards early game, and you're letting them go. You're countering out with them, or you're letting them get KO'd on the board, and then all of a sudden, you're bringing them back later with your Gecko Moria. Like, it seems very good, guys. I'm not going to lie. And I think, so today I tried a Dressrosa / Straw Hat Crew variant. I'm running 2 Rebeccas and 4 Namis for my searchers. I think moving forward, I'm actually going to go Straw Hat Navy. And keep the Gecko Morias, obviously. Keep the Rebecca, the 4-cost Rebecca, and just go a little bit more Navy. And I think this deck will actually get even more, how would you say it, more consistent. Okay, so I play out the Brook there like you saw. Now, notice what's in his trash. He has a pudding in his trash So you better believe that is what I'm taking that into consideration. See, I just checked his trash. I know it's there. I'm trying to keep my hand size under 5, right? 5 or under. Let me make sure. Did I? The speed doesn't seem like there. Yeah, it is. It is at 2x speed. Okay, just slam down Gecko Moria on turn 4 as you should. Why does it keep popping up? Sorry, guys. Okay, that thing's going to go away in a second. I'm just sure of it. Okay, playing out Gecko Moria, I was able to play out a Rebecca 1 cost and a Rebecca 4 cost. Did a top search with my 1 cost Rebecca, and then got a 2K counter out of trash with the other one, I think. And then he gets rid of both my Rebecca and my 4 cost Rebecca and my 3 cost Brook with a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. That card is so strong, guys, because now, like I said, I'm not getting those cards back with Rebecca, or excuse me, with Gecko Moria. They're gone. Okay, so I'm going to swing 10 into the 8K Boa. He saves it with a 2K 1K. It is what it is. Right here, I'm trying to do some math. I'm trying to see what I can do from my trash here. And the answer is, honestly, the answer here, so I don't have a 3 cost. Hang on. Let me pause. So I don't have the 3 cost Straw Hat Crew Brook in my trash. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to play out the 1 cost Rebecca first to get it in my trash, and then have the Rebecca pull it out. And that actually happens here. Check this out, guys. Play Rebecca, activate the 1 cost first. I get it. I'm like, nice. Now play it out with the Rebecca, replacing the Nami. I probably should have replaced the Rebecca that I just played, but it's not a big deal, the 1 cost. But that's fine. If he wants to swing into my 1 cost characters, I'm not mad about that at all, right? Like, that, by all means, swing into those and save me some attacks. Okay, I'm not going to give him that for 5 and a 4 like that. I'll give him the blocker there. Now he has 4 Dawn. He's going to play out a Jinbei and a Gecko Moria. My turn. I have got to get this stupid Boa card off the board, right? Because it's competing with my Gecko Moria. I want full board control. Notice how many cards I have in hand, though. I need to start getting some of these cards out of my hand so that I don't get hit with a, with another pudding, or with a pudding. Okay, right here. Okay, I think this is an interesting. No, this isn't it. I was thinking there is something interesting that happens this game. So right here, I'm going to swing 10 into Boa again, and then KO just one of those other. It didn't matter which one I hit, to be honest, the Jinbei or the Gecko. But I guess technically I'd rather get rid of the Gecko so he can't get cards from his trash with it, if he somehow bounced it back or something. Okay, and I play out the 3 cost Bartolomeo. Again, I'm trying to get cards out of my hand, and that's why, because he just popped me with a pudding. Okay, he's going to swing 6 into my 5 into my 4K Brook. I got to let it go. Plays out Boa. Bottom decks my Rebecca. My Gecko can't attack this turn. He's swinging it for 5, and I'm going to give him a 1K counter. But that's okay. He did just give me another Gecko Moria. Right? So right here, I still need to... I need to get all these cards off the board, though. I have no 2K counters in hand. I need to find a way to get as many cards off the board as I possibly can this turn. Okay, so let me pause something real quick. Okay, so what can I do with 6 Dawn? Because with 6 Dawn, I could play out Rob Lucci, right? Or for 4 Dawn, it's Rob Lucci. But with 6 Dawn, I could clear out both of the 4 cost characters on the board. However, I want to get rid of the Boa, right? Because I can attack into the Jinbei. I just need to get rid of this Boa, and that's my logic for this turn right here, guys. You'll see. Okay, so I'm going to attach 4 to my Garp, minus 4 to the Boa Hancock, smash into the Jinbei for 9. He's not blocking out of that. There's no reason. I'm going to play out the Nami, and so the only card I can get is that new event. That event is from ST14, I believe, the new Luffy, the Black Luffy starter set. Play out Rob Lucci, pop that card, and now I've got 1 Dawn open. I'm trying to mess with him. I'm trying to tell him, hey, I have Rad Beam. I don't have Rad Beam, but I'm trying to mess with him like that. Okay, this next turn is the one I was talking about, guys. Watch what happens this next turn, guys. This is very annoying. So I do actually end up getting a Rad Beam. That was pretty good. Okay, but I still don't use the Rad Beam. I'd rather just trick him out of it and say, like, oh, I don't have Rad Beam. I should have used Rad Beam that turn. I probably could have won the game this turn. But check this out. This was very interesting right here, guys. So swing 6 into 4. Gonna get rid of that. He's not gonna save. There's no reason to save that pudding, right? That would be a play mistake if he had saved that. Okay. Now right here, there's an interaction on the sim that I don't think is working properly because you're going through like 3 tables of interactions. So it's like, okay, watch. Okay, let me pause right here and show you what I'm trying to do. Okay, there is a 2-cost Brook in my trash. The 2-cost Brook will attach 2 Dawn to a character or leader. 2 Rested Dawn. I'm trying to play out with Gecko Moria. His table is play out the Rebecca and the, what's his name, the Brook. I'm choosing to activate the Brook first to attach 2 Dawn to my Garp. Then my Rebecca effect is going off, grabbing a card back from my trash, the 3-cost Brook, to play that out over like this Nami, right? Then that opens up like the third window, right? The third table, or maybe it's still at the end of the second, where I should have had the opportunity to reduce the cost of Doflamingo by 2 from my leader's your turn effect, and then the Brook should have been able to KO the Doflamingo from there. Very unfortunate. There is an entire article talking about this on the judge section of Discord, or, you know, the One Piece TCG judge Discord. You can check it out on there if you don't know, but it's not working properly with the sim right now, unfortunately. But who knows? Maybe they'll fix that in the future. Maybe I could put in a ticket or something. What's it called? Report a bug. Okay, so right here it didn't work out like I said, like it was supposed to. So I just have to kind of deal with it. So I swing in at face for 8. I have a blocker. I have 1 life. I have 1 Dawn up for my Radical Beam, but he hits me with a pudding. But the pudding wasn't too bad because I do have 4,000 power encounter. I still have the blocker and 1 life. Okay, and now I know I'm pretty much fine. Okay, go ahead and counter out there. He has no more cards he can attack with. I should just take this. Yep, I take it. And now I need to swing for lethal. Very nice. I thought I was going to have to use a Rob Lucci there, but instead I can use a Brook. So I'm going to attach 2 Dawn to my 2-cost Brook that's on the field, right? Attach 2 Dawn there, -2 to Doflamingo. Now play out the Brook, popping his blocker. I'm going to swing 9 first. I just want to get this attack through and go about it that way. And then I can load, okay, since it went through, I'm going to load up 5 onto my 6K, swing for 11. Let's see what he gives me. 2, 4, 6, 7. Okay, now I have 2 more attacks. GG. Right there and right there. Good stuff. Okay, that was a good game, though. Very good game there. Okay, now let's go on to the next one. This next one is against a Reiju. And this guy was pretty good. He was playing... I don't know what his strategy is typically, but his strategy this game was actually just to push me into the late game and play out a judge and fill out the board that way. But he got very unlucky. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a spoiler. He gets a little bit unlucky. All right. Let me make sure you guys can still see everything good. Okay, good deal. Okay, so right here, look at this. He just smashes in. He's not trying to play out the board. I don't know what's in his hand, obviously, but he's not trying to play out his board. He's trying to just counter out with everything from his hand. He's filling up his trash with his stage, and I'm just trying to, you know, put some bodies on the board here. Let me make sure the speed, yeah, it is at 2x. Okay. I will say this. Typically speaking, I do think Reiju probably is pretty good into this deck. Because they don't care about us removing their characters because they keep playing the characters from the trash, kind of like how we do. But I still think we can beat this deck, and you'll see in this video, you'll see what happens. Like, we can definitely beat this, but just to give a little pseudo spoiler, this guy gets pretty unlucky, and you'll see over the course of this game. Swing 5 and a 5, just give me a card, sure, I'll take it. Play out my 7-cost Luffy, keep my blocker up. I'm trying to fill the board out again. Okay, and that's my plan. I just want to fill out the board, but look what he does. He just rushes straight to Judge, gets the 7-cost Ikiji, but he doesn't have Reiju in his trash. So that was what I was saying was unlucky. Now, it's unlucky, but it's also a weird play, because it's like, okay, why not, like, what are you seeing in these searches, right? That's my question. Like, dude, what are you seeing in the, like, because he searches like 4 or 5 times this game, and I don't know if he ever finds a Reiju. Like, you guys are going to see what I'm saying. I don't know if he ever finds a Reiju. So right here, I swing 10 into Judge with my Luffy because he can attack active characters. He gives me 2 2K counters out of hand there. I'm like, sure, we'll take it. And then I'm going to attack into this Ikiji right here. This is a weird situation that I'm in, but I do have to tackle it this exact way. Or at least this is the way I felt was the best way to attack it. I attach 1 to my Sabo, swing 7 into Ikiji. He has to let it go, or else I'm going to swing 7 into it again with my Garp or my leader, the character or the leader. Okay, and right here, I'm going to swing 5, and I'm going to play out a Brook. I mean, just in case this guy's playing some kind of, you know, pudding or something, I want to get as many cards out of my hand as possible, and I want to fill up the board as much as possible. I don't have a lot of counter power, so all my stuff that's tapped right now is very much going to get KO'd, right? There's no way to protect it. But I do have a turn, I do have a play next turn where I can play out Gecko. I can do all kinds of different things, right? Okay, I get a Brook from there. Let's see what we get here. So this is a tough turn for me. I need to determine what I want to do. And I actually just want to completely clear his board with Brook. Look at that. Swing 10 into your 8 with Brook and KO your 7. That card in this deck, guys, is so strong. I just played out another one with, excuse me. I just played out another one with my Rebecca's effect and got a Sabo out of my trash for a 1K counter or a blocker next turn. Okay, let's see what he wants to do. Okay, you can have my Brooks at this point. Well, we'll see what happens here. I don't know if I want to give him this one or not. Okay, I go ahead and give him the block there. He has a Kiji. I'm not worried about it. You're bouncing it back to my hand. I can play it out later if I need it. But okay, now it's my turn. And right here, I need to start getting some board presence, right? Yeah, it looks like I got my hand over Gecko. That's the right play here. Play out Rebecca. Play out a Brook, just something to fill up the board, attach 2 Dawn with. That's whatever. Play out another Brook. And then I actually messed up here. So I could have, pause. I could have KO'd the Niji here if I had attached 2 Dawn to my leader first, then did the effect with Gecko Moria, do the Dawn attachment to my leader Garp, and then pop it with the other Brook. Like, that could have been a very nice play there. But that's okay. You know, I am still kind of learning the deck. Look, right here I'm realizing, like, oh, wow, I could have gotten rid of that. Well, that's okay. I swing 9 into 7. He lets it go. Plays out another Judge, and now his board is getting pretty big. But look at this. Somehow he only had the one... Did he only have the one Niji in his trash? I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what happened there. He just did another Germa Searcher event. He just did the stage. Like, it is just... It's just going crazy. Okay, now we knew he had the 7-cost guy in there. He's going to swing 5 into 2. He can have that. Excuse me. I still got my blocker. You know, I'm still doing pretty well right now. Swing 6 into 7. I get a King Kong gun. I'm like, okay. I'd rather draw 3 trash 2 because I don't have any character on the board that I can use this with to like try and punch for lethal next turn realistically. Okay, so swing 7 into 5. I get a Nami from that. And I'm starting to think it's time to go for game here because I don't think I can clear this board. That's what's going through my head right now. Okay, so -2 to, you know, this guy, I guess. You know, it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to go for game, guys. Okay, so swing for 7. He takes it. Swing for 9. Takes it. Now swing for whatever that is, 11. So he almost had it too. He almost had it. That was a good game. But I was up against the ropes at the end there. If he would have been able to counter out of one before this, I could have played out my Luffy for another attack. But it's good that it worked out that way. Swing 7, swing 9, swing 11 is going to get it a lot of times in that situation. Okay, let's go to the next one. Next one here we got against Bonney. This is a pretty interesting one here. Volume's off. Speed 2x. I actually think this deck's kind of decent against Bonney, especially if you see your Brooks early on and you see your Rebeccas, because that becomes this engine, guys, where you're like, okay, I'm going to play out my Brooks early. Okay, you're going to kill it or KO it. Excuse me. If you're going to KO it, no problem. Then I'm going to play out my Rebecca that brings it back to KO it, to keep KOing stuff. Then you get it again. Okay, now I'm going to bring back Gecko Moria that does everything all over again. So I do think that is very nice, guys. And another card I might try to fit in the future is maybe like 2. Like, I'm not running any, so I just go ahead and pop Cavendish with my Brook alone. Swing 10, pop your Cavendish, seems good. And now he's going to have to attack into that realistically, right? But one thing I might try to add in the future is just like 2 or 3 Ice Ages to the deck, because I'm not running any currently. Okay, so right here, I don't know what's in my trash, but I think playing out Lucci would have been a good play here. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Playing out Lucci would not have been a good play because I only had 3 cards in trash and I would have lost my Brook. I don't want to lose my Brook against this guy. Okay, playing out Gecko though, I'm able to get a top 5 search with Nami. I'm able to play out my Brook and pop his Bonney. I swung 5 at him this turn. He plays out Hody Jones to tap down my characters. 5 into 4, I'm going to 2K counter out of that. I'm going to force him to swing more than that into it. Then this guy makes a weird play here, guys. Watch this. He's like, oh, you just used 2K counters? Well, now I'm going to go 10 into your Gecko. Okay, now I'm just going to wipe your board with my Brook. Again, like you see what happens with this card, guys. Look at this. Swing 10 into your 5 and pop your Hody Jones. He taps down my leader. That's fine. I'm playing out Rob Lucci just to put a character on the board. Okay, and some people might have liked playing Rob Lucci that last turn to get to bottom deck the 3 cards I had in there. But guys, y'all see how much value I'm getting from these Brooks? Okay, this guy drops down. Big boy, you know, the big boy Zoro here. And again, guys, this is why I think having like 1 or 2 Ice Ages in the deck would probably be pretty nice. Maybe I can't even talk right now, guys. Maybe even in place of the King Kong gun. Swing 5, swing 7. I'm trying to whittle this guy down because I am not in good shape here, right? Okay, I'm going to play this card out, play that card out. And if you try to go all in with your... He can't even go all in because I'm at 4 life. I've been countering out aggressively. I'm at 4 life. So he can't even one-shot, you know, OTK me this turn. He takes out my Lucci. Sure, you can have it. And I know he's about to play out Eustace Kid. If he doesn't have Eustace Kid, the game's over, right? Because I'm just going to swing 9, 9, 9 right across the board. 3, yeah. It would just be 9 shots and 9 across the board here. And if they didn't go through, I'd actually leave up Dawn for my Radical Beam. Okay, so right here. Hang on. I was going to say there's something I could have done here. Let me pause. Okay, so I'm about to swing 12 into Eustace Kid. But one thing that would have been very interesting is playing out the, well, no, because I still had to attack into the Eustace Kid. Never mind. I was going to say I could have dropped him down to 1 by playing out Brook and then went about KOing him or trashing him. But why would I do that when I could just do it this way? Swing 12 into it. That's fine. He has to use 2 2Ks and a 1K. I swing 9 into it. He doesn't have the 2K. He's gone. Now what's he going to do? Right? I have a rusher in my hand, guys. I have a card that can rush this guy down in my hand. I let him pop both of those, by all means. He has to play another Eustace Kid here, or it's just not going to be enough. You know what I mean? Or potentially not going to be enough. We'll see what happens. Okay. And I still have 4 life, guys. He plays out Cavendish, swings in for 8. I do have to finally take 1. Okay. And now I've got an E-show for the turn. That's not really going to help me. -2 there. Swing for 7. He's going to tap down my Nami. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just swing for 9. GG, he doesn't let me attack. He sees it coming. Good game. That Luffy is a good game closer, guys. I'm a big fan of that one. Like I said, I like it way better than the other Luffy. But yeah. Okay, this is just a real short game here, guys. Just a real quick one. Someone else is trying some jank on the ladder. Of course, I have to you know, take someone up on that challenge. Like, oh, your jank versus mine. Let's do this. It's an even match. I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, this Yamato deck seemed a little bit trollish, but we'll at least check it out, right? We'll have some fun with it. Okay, and maybe that's a good sign, right? Because one thing you have to always think about when you're playing a new deck and when you're thinking about taking a deck to a locals, how bad does it feel when you're like geared to beat some of the better decks, but then you lose to a total like off-meta random deck? It's like, dude, I shouldn't have lost to this. Decks like Garp, with all the removal they have, it does not just randomly lose to random decks, guys. Because look at this. I'm going to reduce that guy. I'm going to swing 5 at life, pop that card, and he's probably going to take this. Yep, take that. Okay, swing 6 with Garp. Your turn. Let me see what happens here. I think he just takes it. Yep. He does get a Soul Focus. I'm trashing my top life card every time. You're not getting any life from me in this situation. Okay, he plays out a Luffy here. He's probably going to swing for 7 into, yeah, just swing 6, excuse me, into 3. You can have it. If I could have countered out of that, I would have considered it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. But no reason to really do that. One card that was not as good as I thought was the Lucci. I don't get cards fast enough in my trash to really benefit from playing Lucci early on. So if I do keep Lucci in the deck, I'll probably drop him down to like a 1 or a 2 of, just as like a little tech card. Okay. And that event in my hand, I'll show you guys that at the end of the video. Okay, he swings 5 into 5. There's no reason for me to give him life. Yellow's going to probably gain life. I shouldn't give him anything here for free. Because right now, I have a way to deal with what he has on the board with that new Luffy. So that new Luffy card's going to trash a 2-cost character off the board, so he will not even get his on-KO effect. So attach 2 here, -2, swing 7 into 5. Let's see what he gives me. Okay, if he gives me... I was going to say, if he didn't give me that, I would attack into it with this card too. Okay, so that there. And trash the card. I'm not going to buff it. That's what that little interaction was on the side of the screen. Play out my Luffy. Play out Brook. Now he knows whatever he plays is just going to get KO'd. He plays out a Cracker, and I think he just leaves right here. Okay, swing 5. Just leaves. Yep. So this Cracker is going to get KO'd, right? And if he swings into my, like say he like loads up 6 or was it 5 and just swings 11 into my, or 10 into my Luffy, I'm just going to let it go, right? Because next turn I'm going to load up 3 on my Brook, swing for 6 at life, popping his, or swing 7 at life, excuse me, popping his Cracker, and then I can play out a Rebecca from there or whatever. Like it all depends on what the situation is, but that's a bad situation to be in for the opponent who has no removal in his hand. Okay. Let's bring up the deck list real quick, guys, and we'll finish off that way. So here's the list, guys. Real quick, I'm going to take the Garp off so it kind of puts everything on one line here. And I'm even going to... So this was... Let me talk about this card real quick. Let me move my face before I forget. Let me talk about this card, and then I'm just going to remove it because I didn't really care for it. It's a 2-cost card. It's called Gum Gum Diable 3-Sword Style Mutton Jet 600-Pound Cannon. Okay, that's the actual name for the card. And it... excuse me. It seems good in theory, right? It is a main, give your leader or up to one of your characters plus 3,000 power this turn, like Houndblaze and like 200 million volts of Maru. Then if you have a cost 8 or greater character in play, you can KO a 2 or less character. Okay, like I do have access to 2 very strong 8-cost characters in Isho and Gecko Moria, but it's just not really practical. I would almost rather this be something searchable, right? Like by, well, I mean, it is searchable, excuse me. It is searchable by Nami, but I'd almost rather this be something else like an Ice Age and then like go up maybe some Navy stuff. So I'm going to remove that card right away. I'm not saying it's a bad card, but it is a... it did not seem great. Let me say that. Okay, let me bring up the black cards and then the red cards, and we'll go from there. They'll give me just a second. Because the direction I think I want to take the deck moving forward is actually like Navy Straw Hat Crew. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, it's all loaded in. Okay, so I'm going to run through the list real quick, and then we'll talk about it. I'm running 4 Namis, 4 Brook. The 2K counter, this card is really solid because the on-play gives 2 Dawn to attach stuff. It works really nice with Gecko Moria. 2 Luffy, just my finisher card. 4 Brook, this card is insanely good in what we're doing. 4 Garp, again, insanely good for what we're doing. 2 Ishos. Only 3 Salvos. 4 Bartolomeo. 2 Monkey D. Luffy, the 7-cost. 2 Rebecca. 4 of the 4-cost Rebecca. 3 Lucci. 4 Gecko Moria, 3 of the 5-cost Black Monkey D. Luffy, 2 Radical Beams, and 2 King Kong Guns. And then, of course, I was running the one, that new event. How do I remember what it was called? What was it? Yeah, this one right here. Oh, the trigger. I forgot to read the trigger on this. If you have a cost 8 or greater character in play, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 5 or lower characters. The trigger is very good going into the late game, because if I've got down a Gecko Moria or an Isho and they try to get an attack off and I'm able to pop a 5 or less, that is massive. But otherwise, I don't know. It's worth still playing with. You guys tell me what y'all think about it, but I just wasn't really head over heels for it. And I think moving forward, I would probably, I would almost completely drop the Luccis. I'm just going to mess with the list real quick, guys. And I think I get rid of this one. Get rid of the 7-cost Luffy, get rid of the Rebeccas, get rid of the Bartolomeos, and then, let me look up Navy stuff real quick. Excuse me. Yeah, I think this would just be the better call. The Sabo I was fine with at 3 because I can search it back with Rebecca if I need to go comboing with it. But if I go Navy here, then I can go up the brand new. Where's brand new at? It's right in front of me. Maybe not even go 4 of them, right? Maybe just go 3 of them, 2 or 3 of them, and then I can add some Navy cards from here because I already have the Garp. So I have 8 2K counters, 4 that are searchable by Nami, 4 that are searchable by brand new. That's always something to take into consideration. And I don't think I need this King Kong gun anymore. I just don't think I need that. You know what I mean? Now, for Straw Hat Crew stuff, let me count to make sure I still have enough. 4 Brook, so 4, 6, 10, and then 13, 15. So I have 15 searchable cards for Nami. That's a little low. It could be better. We might mess with that in a second. But from here, a card that I would like to try out is 2 of this Smoker card. Maybe go up some Borsalinos because it's another target to hit with Gecko Moria. I think it'd be nice to go 2 Sakazukis though as well. And then, oh, I know. Let me, for an event that's searchable, since I do have quite a few bricks in this deck now, 4, 8, 10, 12. I have 12 bricks in the deck. So at that rate, maybe I go up 2 of the Bad Manners Kit course. Where is that at? Sorry, guys, I'm looking for it. Let me just type it in. There it is. Okay. Grab 2 of these. And now that puts us up to 17 searchable targets for the Straw Hat stuff. And the Navy stuff, we have 2, 6, 10, 12, 14. So maybe, there you go. So maybe for the last little bit, remember we were just talking about this, maybe go 2 of the Ice Ages. And then 1 spot's just left into the deck. Oh, no, that's for the leader. Excuse me. So that would actually probably be the whole list right there. That'd be the full list. And this is probably the direction I'd go with it from here. I could even see myself going down another Sabo now that I've gone up all the Borsalinos. But I don't know what I'd put in for that. If I take out one Sabo, maybe I go up one brand new, something along those lines. Because again, Rebecca can get back like any of these cards that are black. Like it can grab any of those back from the trash, like Brook, Sakazuki, Borsalina. It can't grab the Garp because that's a little bit low. See, maybe, excuse me. I am running 8 2K counters, but I'm running 2 Rad Beams and 2 Bad Manners Kit Core, so maybe that's enough 2K counter. But it would be really nice to fit in another 2K counter, one that I could search back with Rebecca, one that I could snag back with Rebecca, maybe even like a Perona or something. I know I talk about that card all the time, but I really do think Perona, I think Perona is that good, guys. I'm not even kidding when I say that. We'll have to mess with it. Maybe we get rid of Sakazuki, because I don't think we necessarily need Sakazuki in this list, because of the Brook. I mean, I think you guys saw, man, if y'all were watching the games, Brook, Luffy, and, I mean, I think that was it. Those 2 cards, Brook and Luffy, were just able to wipe out anything my opponent played. It was really strong. It was really strong. Oh, another one I would consider running too for the events, maybe even over Ice Age, is that Great Eruption card or not Great Eruption, Meteor Volcano we were looking at earlier. This is just a solid card. You know, draw 2, trash 1 for a trigger, and then pay 2 to KO 1 or less. Excuse me. That could come in like very, very handy. But yeah, this is kind of the general direction I'm going with the list, guys. It still needs some work. It still needs some revision. It's not finished. But you guys know what y'all think in the comment section below, guys. I'm done rambling. This has been a very fun leader to play. I did do a list a long time ago, guys. I did a list like a while back with this leader, like way back, probably like maybe 7 or 8 months ago, something like that, like a comprehensive dive into it. I'll try to post that down in the comment section below for anyone who wants to check that out. Excuse me, because that was back when the list was at least sort of relevant, like when it was still, you know, people were still experimenting with it and see if they could get it to work. But guys, I think no one's really put a lot of effort into this leader to get it to work since the tools it's gotten. Because Gecko, Moria, Rebecca, and this new Brook card in this deck, this is a match made in heaven, guys. And I can search up the Brook with my Nami over the course of the game. I should be getting my Gecko Morias. And Rebecca, I'll get those over the course of the game as well. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, man, you know, this little combination here is very, very strong. Right, guys, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. If y'all have a list that's working out really well for you, please post it down there. If I missed a card you think would be really, really strong for this leader going forward, please tell me what you think it might be down in the comment section below. I don't want to spend too much more time on it. Because let me just kind of look through. Because like I said, there are cards that are like theoretically decent that attached on for free. Cards like this. Cards like the new Koala. I say new, but it's like it's a promo card coming out. Attach one Dawn for free. Now, Nami's a cool idea too, but the problem is you can't search it up with this Nami. Black just got a lot of Straw Hat cards from the ST14 starter decks, other cards for us to look at, but they have to do with cost manipulation for your side too. It's kind of weird, but it's something to at least look at. Especially since we're running a strong 8-cost card anyway with Gecko and Moria, maybe it's worth trying. Because this card right here, guys, 3 cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter blocker. On play, if you have a character with a cost of 8 or more, and you have 6 or less cards in your hand, draw a card. So maybe that becomes another combo where you go Gecko, Moria, get Rebecca, Rebecca gets back Nami, Nami plays out to draw a card. And now you have 2 blockers. One will be rested, but still. Excuse me. And then for the other one, you know, that would be your 4-cost search Rebecca would snag back the Nami and play it, right? Your other card could be like brand new or Nami, something along those lines. But anyway, there's a lot of different directions we could take this deck, guys. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Y'all help me make this list, you know, a little more competitive, or tell me what y'all think if I'm on something here or not. All right, I'm done rambling. Let me go ahead and put up the patrons page here. Thank you guys so much for helping out the channel. Thank you guys for watching, subscribing, sharing, commenting, liking, all that stuff, guys. And please do not forget to like and subscribe if you've not already for this video. And I appreciate y'all. And thank you again to all my patrons over here on the screen. You guys are the best. And yeah, until next time, guys. Peace.